The wind moves down Kensington Avenue like a ghost. It carries no whispers of the city's usual life, no laughter, no traffic's impatient hum, only a low, mournful sigh that catches on the corners of boarded-up buildings. This is Philadelphia, but not the one on postcards. Not the city of liberty and brotherly love. This is a place hollowed out by a quiet war. A war fought not with guns, but with a fine white powder that promises escape and delivers only chains. The streets are wide, almost unnervingly so. They seem to stretch on forever, flanked by skeletal trees and the husks of forgotten businesses. I walk these streets, and the silence is the loudest thing I hear. It's a heavy silence, thick with stories that have no one left to tell them. Every brick in these crumbling facades seems to hold a memory, a family dinner, a child's first steps, a dream of a better life. Now those dreams are buried under layers of dust and neglect. The air itself feels weary. It smells of damp concrete, of rain-soaked trash, and something else. Something acrid and chemical that hangs in the background. A constant reminder of the crisis that has claimed this neighborhood as its own. The only movement comes from the plastic bags that dance in the gutters, swept along by the breeze. They are like lonely spirits, skittering across the pavement before getting snagged on a broken fence or a discarded needle. Rainwater pools in the potholes, reflecting the gray sky above. It creates a distorted mirror of a world turned upside down. I see a single shoe lying on the sidewalk, its laces undone. It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes. It tells a story of a journey interrupted. A life that took a sudden, sharp turn and never found its way back. This is the fentanyl apocalypse, but it arrived without a bang. It crept in slowly, silently. It settled over these neighborhoods like a dense fog, obscuring the future and erasing the past. The people here are not zombies from a movie. They are mothers, sons, fathers, and daughters. They are the people America forgot. And as I walk deeper into the heart of it, I can feel the weight of their collective sorrow. It presses down on me, a physical presence in the empty air. The city holds its breath, waiting for a dawn that feels like it may never come. I find an abandoned warehouse near the train tracks. Its windows are shattered like vacant eyes staring out at the desolation. The door hangs open, a dark mouth inviting the curious or the desperate. I step inside and the temperature drops. The space is cavernous, a cathedral of urban decay. Sunlight streams through holes in the roof, illuminating swirling dust motes. They dance in the light, a silent ballet in the stillness. My footsteps echo, each one a sharp report in the profound quiet. It feels like trespassing on sacred, sorrowful ground. Piles of debris are scattered across the concrete floor. Old clothes, sodden mattresses, and yellowed newspapers. They are the artifacts of lives lived in the margins. I see a child's worn teddy bear, its button eyes staring up at the decaying ceiling. Who did it belong to? What dreams did that child have before this place became their reality? The question hangs in the air, unanswered. The walls are covered in graffiti, layers upon layers of spray paint. Some are angry slashes of color. Others are intricate murals, now peeling and faded. They are the ghosts of voices that once tried to scream. In a far corner I find a collection of makeshift shelters. Thin blankets are draped over wooden pallets, creating small, private enclosures. This was once a community of sorts, a fragile sanctuary for those with nowhere else to go. Now, it is empty. The only evidence of recent life is a scattering of burnt spoons and tiny, empty baggies. They are the relics of the ritual that governs life here, a ritual of chasing a high that gets ever more elusive. The silence in this place is different. It's a listening silence, as if the walls themselves are waiting for their former inhabitants to return. The wind howls through the broken windows, a lonely wailing sound that sends a shiver down my spine. It's the sound of emptiness, the sound of a city's heart breaking. I imagine the people who sought refuge here, huddled together for warmth, sharing stories in hushed tones, finding a fleeting sense of belonging in a world that had cast them out. Now, they are gone, scattered back to the streets, or perhaps to something worse. The warehouse stands as a monument to their struggle, its empty corridors echoing with the ghosts of their presence. Back on the street, the human cost of the crisis becomes starkly visible. A young woman sits on a stoop, her head bowed. Her name is Maria. She tells me she used to be a nursing student. She had a scholarship, a small apartment, and a cat named Jasper. She speaks of her past in a monotone voice, as if recounting a story that happened to someone else. Her hands tremble slightly as she talks. Her eyes, once bright with ambition, are now clouded over. They reflect the gray sky, vacant and distant. She says she just needed something for the pain after a car accident. That was 2 years ago. A little further down, I meet a man named John. He is leaning against a brick wall, his body contorted into a strange, frozen posture known as the fentanyl fold. He is awake, but not truly present. He stares at a spot on the pavement, his focus absolute. I learn he was a construction worker. He built things with his hands. He talks about raising beams, about the smell of fresh-cut wood. He had a family, a wife and 2 kids. He lost his job, then his home, then his family. Now he spends his days here, on this corner, lost in a chemical haze that blurs the edges of his pain. These are not monsters. They are people whose lives have been derailed by a force they cannot control. They exist in a state of suspended animation. Their daily routine is a relentless cycle. The frantic search for money, the brief, perilous transaction, the fleeting moment of relief that follows. Then, the gnawing emptiness that returns, stronger than before. They move through the city like specters, seen but not acknowledged. Passers-by avert their gaze, hurrying past, as if the addiction is contagious. It is a profound and isolating loneliness. Each person I speak to has a story, a dream that dissolved, a promise that was broken. They talk about who they were before the drug took hold. A musician, a chef, a student, a soldier. The memories are like faded photographs, reminders of a life that feels impossibly distant. They are trapped between that past and a future they cannot imagine. Their existence is a quiet, desperate plea for help. A plea that seems to get lost in the wind that sweeps through these forgotten streets. The city moves on around them, oblivious to the slow-motion tragedy unfolding in its shadows. The tension in these neighborhoods is a living thing. You can feel it in the way people watch from their windows, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and resignation. You can feel it in the sudden, jerky movements of those in the grip of addiction. They walk with a strange, shuffling gait, their bodies fighting a constant battle against the drug's pull. The air crackles with unspoken anxieties. A police car cruises slowly down the block. There's a shouted argument that erupts from a darkened alleyway. Each moment holds the potential for things to unravel. Suspense builds not in grand gestures, but in the small, unsettling details. There's a figure slumped over in a parked car, unmoving for hours. Is he sleeping? Or is this another overdose, another life extinguished in silence? Paramedics are a constant presence here. Their sirens are a familiar part of the city's soundtrack. They arrive with Narcan, the life-saving spray that can reverse an overdose. They bring people back from the brink only to leave them on the same street corner where they nearly died. It's a grim, repetitive dance between life and death. I watch a young man, no older than 20, as he paces back and forth. He is agitated, his eyes darting around nervously. He is waiting for his dealer. Every passing car, every distant footstep makes him jump. This is the daily suspense of an addict's life. The agonizing wait, the risk of arrest, the danger of a bad batch, a dose laced with an even deadlier substance. He is gambling with his life for a few hours of numbness. The transaction, when it finally happens, is swift and silent. A quick handoff in a doorway. A brief exchange of words. Then he is gone, disappearing into the labyrinth of streets. The environment itself seems to conspire in this suspense. The setting sun casts long, distorted shadows that creep across the streets. They stretch and twist, turning familiar shapes into monstrous figures. A gust of wind rattles a loose shutter on an abandoned building, the sound like a gunshot in the quiet. The drip of water from a broken drainpipe becomes a relentless ticking clock, counting down to an unknown event. There is a feeling that anything could happen here, in the deepening twilight. The city holds its breath, shrouded in a quiet menace. Even in this landscape of despair, faint glimmers of hope persist. They are small and fragile, but they are there. I find one in a church basement where a support group is meeting. The room is brightly lit, a stark contrast to the gloom outside. The coffee is hot, and the welcome is warm. Here, people share their stories not with shame, but with a sense of shared struggle. They talk about their small victories. A day clean, a phone call to a long-lost relative, a job interview scheduled for next week. For a few hours, they are not addicts. They are just people, supporting each other. Another glimmer appears in the form of a volunteer outreach team. They walk the streets armed not with judgment, but with sandwiches, clean socks, and wound care kits. They know people by name. They ask about their families. They offer a kind word and a listening ear. A woman named Sarah, a former nurse, gently cleans a wound on a man's arm. She speaks to him softly, her voice full of compassion. It is a small act of kindness, but in this place, it feels monumental. It is a reminder of a shared humanity that the drug has tried to erase. Hope is a dangerous thing here. It can be easily extinguished. I talked to a man who has been clean for 6 months. He has a job at a car wash and is saving up for a small apartment. He talks about his daughter and his dream of seeing her again. His eyes shine with a newfound purpose, but the pull of his old life is never far away. He avoids certain streets, certain people. He knows how easily he could slip back into the darkness. His hope is a tightrope walk, a delicate balance between a brighter future and a relentless past. These moments of hope do not erase the harsh reality. They exist alongside it, in a state of constant tension. A community garden blooms on a vacant lot, its bright flowers a defiant splash of color against the gray concrete. But just across the street, a dealer continues his trade. A new mural is painted on a wall, depicting a rising sun, but at its base, a man slumps into a fentanyl fold. The struggle for this city's soul is fought block by block, person by person. The whispers of a different life are there, but you have to listen very carefully to hear them above the silence. As I prepare to leave, the sun begins to rise over Philadelphia. It paints the sky in soft shades of pink and orange. For a moment, the city looks beautiful, almost peaceful. The morning light catches the dew on a spider's web, turning it into a string of tiny jewels. It illuminates the facades of the old buildings, giving them a temporary golden dignity. It feels like a promise of renewal, a new day. But down on the streets of Kensington, the dawn brings little relief. It only marks the beginning of another cycle of struggle. The first people begin to stir. Not commuters heading to work, but those who have spent the night on the cold pavement. They rise slowly, their bodies stiff and sore. The brief oblivion of the night is over, and the raw, urgent needs of the day are already setting in. The search for the next dose begins almost immediately. The first light of day does not bring hope. It brings a harsh clarity, illuminating the grim reality of their situation. The beautiful sunrise feels like a cruel joke in a place that has forgotten what a new beginning feels like. Leaving these neighborhoods feels like walking away from a silent, ongoing disaster. The stories I've heard will stay with me. Maria, the nursing student. John, the construction worker. The countless others whose names I never learned, but whose faces are seared into my memory. They are the casualties of a crisis that America seems content to ignore. Their dreams have been ground into dust, and their lives have been put on an indefinite hold. They are waiting for a rescue that may never arrive, trapped in a city that has become a prison. The wind still blows down Kensington Avenue. It carries the same mournful sound, the same scent of decay and chemical despair. Nothing has changed. The city will continue its business, the Liberty Bell will be photographed, and the history books will be read. But here, in these forgotten corners, the quiet apocalypse continues. It unfolds in slow motion, one life at a time. And as I look back one last time, the rising sun seems to cast no warmth on these streets. It is an unending dawn, a day that begins but never truly breaks.